Welcome back, boys. It's me, the one and only Common Knowledge. I know I haven't been uploading like I said, but we're finally back with another YouTube video. I have some new plans now, so we're going to be changing it up a bit. I really want to focus on one of my favorite games, Rainbow Six Siege, but I don't have enough time to get clips for the videos I want to make. So now I'll be putting out an ARC solo series while I get clips for Rainbow Six Siege. I probably will do this solo series until I can start consistently putting out Rainbow Six Siege videos so there will be no dry patches. I hope you guys enjoy the solo series and also that maybe you'll get encouraged to come pick up the game and it'll hold off your appetite till the main course. Well guys, you know the basics now, so all I gotta say is CK out.
I've always actually kind of enjoyed small tribes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now, the biggest obstacle for me is to make this entertaining and informational, you know? So, I should probably start off the video by talking about what zones to spawn in when you're just starting out. So, when you're just starting out ARC, you probably won't be that familiar with the game and like the technically end goal of it all. So, a really easy spawn for you or for people if you're just starting, is always gonna be like south, I'd say. Yeah, south is always a really good option. There's like really easy mobs and creatures. It's just, I think in my opinion, the best place to start understanding the game. And then once you get a little bit better, you realize that you want to build near where I spawned in here with this new character at North 1. Because those little multiple ovally thingies on the map, those are mountains. And you get metal at mountains. That helps you progress faster in the game. You'll also eventually learn what animals are passive and non-passive. So for example, that's a dodo, they're passive, but that giant bird next to it right there, that's an Argentavis, and they're not passive. They'll eat you. Here's a good example of, so when you're playing ARC PvP, you're gonna see other people in your server. For example, this dude right here, he has a tamed Magmar. Usually if you're just starting out, your best bet is just to be friendly with people. Maybe send them a little chat. They usually will leave you alone. Yeah, I say usually for a reason. Anyways, some more common questions when first starting out into and stuff like that. Honestly, it's really up to you for when you're starting. Like, it doesn't really matter, but later on, eventually, if you want to become like a PvP focused and like wanting to do raids and kind of fun stuff like that, I really recommend in building into movement speed. But when you're first starting off, since you don't really understand the game that much, probably want to pump points into health and weight. Everything in the game weighs stuff. Obviously, wood, stone, stuff like that is gonna weigh more than other things. So when you're farming to build your house, you're gonna want a little bit more weight, so then you can bring more materials at a time. Um, some things you can also know, you can't, if you've ever seen Rust playthroughs, you can't like take people's houses and stuff like you can in Rust. Um, everything you build is yours. If you leave it unlocked, people can come in and steal your stuff, but that's only if you leave it unlocked, obviously. Okay, so next step is what you should spec into right off the beginning, like what you put your points into. So you obviously want to get your stone hatchet, and then I recommend just picking up a spear, campfire, and water skin first. Water skins, basically, they allow you to carry around water, and they're really helpful for surviving and just making the game easier when you're first starting. Yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, now here's an important part of the game. So, after you kill things, it leaves carcasses, like, dead bodies. Oh, well, Argentavis says those birds are attracted to dead bodies, so I can't really show you with that, but next thing I can kill, I can show you what I was going to tell you. Using different tools will get you different stuff from different resources, if that made sense. So, here, let me just make a few things so I can explain to you what I mean. So, basic knowledge, if you're going to be using a axe against a tree, you're going to get more wood. But if you use a pickaxe, you're going to get more thatch, as you can see on the left side of my screen, where it says added. And obviously these things do different things when building stuff. For the majority of the time, it is really important to use the correct tool. It'll make farming a lot easier, and it'll just make your time on the game a little bit more fun. So, another good tip of advice while I'm in here myself, so there's certain berries that do things to you. So stem berries, the white ones, when you eat them, they lower your water. So if you look at my water stat, it's dramatically dropping really fast. And especially when it's hot outside, that's not good because you'll start dying really fast. The black ones, if you eat a lot of them, your torpidity starts going up. If you look at the bottom of the stats, that's what that is. It basically means, like, when it gets to a certain point, you get knocked out and you can't move, you're unconscious. Yeah. But, so, yeah. And you want to watch for all this stuff in the bottom right of your screen. There's, like, all these little symbols meaning things. Like, that snowflake means I'm cold. How much blue that is filling up a certain area shows the amount of that in which you have. So you can see my food bar and my stats. I have nothing, and then on the bottom right you can see there's no blue in it, so I obviously have no food. So, and that little like liver thingy means that you're starving. So here's a good example. So hatchets get you more hide from animals, which is important when building like armor and houses. Hide is probably one of the most used things in the game in the beginning, especially if you want to make water skin, stuff like that. Armor, like hide armor and stuff. Even cloth boots, those take hide. I'm pretty sure gloves maybe, yeah, gloves as well. Sleeping bags and like beds and stuff, but we'll get there in a minute. So, you want to keep a really close eye on like your hunger and stuff, because at the moment you can see my bone looks broken, and that's because I'm starving. And when you're starving, when like if you have any of the dangerous symbols pop up in the bottom right, it deteriorates your health slowly. So if you don't want to die, like I said, you might want to watch that very closely. So I mean, you could spec into a few of the cloth stuff here in the beginning. If you're gonna want to spec into anything, I recommend just the shirt, pants, and hat. Later on, you technically have to spec in all of them to get the better armor, but for now, that's pretty much everything you're gonna need. For the building, if you are gonna be a solo player, you might as well just start specking into everything yourself. If you play with your friends, a really good strategy is for one of you to pick something to spec into. Like, say, if I was playing with my friend, I'd be like, yo, I want to make armor and weapons for us. And he could be like, oh, I want to build. And then it helps you save your points and be able to spec into the things you want to spec into. But if you're a solo player, it doesn't really matter, and you can find ways around that. So right now, basically all we're doing is just getting basic necessities. We're cooking up some food so we can stay alive. And the main point right in the beginning is you want to just go around, collect stones, like go and grab bushes. You want to level up as fast as you possibly can. And when leveling up, this will allow you to build your houses faster and get to the metal stage as fast as possible. You don't really want to stay in the stage of like wood and stone all too long, because that's a really sticky spot for beginners. You gotta learn how to push straight to metal, and once you learn how to do this, your gameplays will become a lot more straightforward, and you become a lot better at the game. You'll definitely enjoy the game more. Speaking of enjoying the game, so when first playing any game, there's obviously a learning curve, and Ark has a very steep learning curve. While you're watching me here, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh man, this game looks pretty easy, but not every experience is going to be as easy as mine looks right now. You can load in, and there can be some really, not so nice people, and they can be messing with you the whole entire time, or you'll be trying to spawn in at like an easy location like south, and there just happens to be a raptor waiting for you at your spawn. This stuff's always gonna happen. You just gotta be, you have to be able to take it until you understand the game. It's an important part of every game, just being able to play the game and not get angry, which you definitely will get angry playing this game. The game doesn't look all that glamorous when you're farming and stuff, but to me that's probably one of the most fun parts. I really like being able to put my time into something. Yeah. Anyways, so for building, yeah, you're gonna want to pick up all the basic building thatch right off the bat. So foundation, door frame, ceiling, wall, door, and box. And then like sloped walls and stuff, those don't matter. You don't need those. Like the saddle, you might see slingshot and be like, oh, that sounds really cool, but you're not gonna need that. I promise you, it's not good. you're just gonna want to save your points for stuff like narcotics and mortar and pestle, and I can explain that for you right now. So basically, after you get enough stuff, you're gonna want to build that mortar and pestle thing I was just talking about. And what that does is, I'm stuck. Well, the mortar and pestle, it allows you to make narcotics. Yes, the drug, but you use those to keep animals that you knocked out. You keep them knocked out with those, and then you can tame them, and yeah, pretty much that. Um, um, Animals have their specialties and stuff. Like, you're probably thinking of a T-Rex right away if you're playing this game. They're really good at getting meat, and they do a lot of damage, but you won't be getting those until you're a lot higher up. They take a lot of narcotics, a lot of trank arrows. A lot goes into trying to knock one of those guys out. Alright, well, anyways, let's skip to actually building your house here. So, now that we got the resources and you're building, while you're just trying to focus on leveling up, I just find a really secluded, hidden spot. If you noticed, I'm walking. In the bottom right, there's like a picture of a weight. That means I can't run. I'm overweight or too close to my weight limit, so it allows me not to run. But getting back to building, so you're gonna want to find like a nice secluded area that you can remember where you build. That's really important. You don't want to lose your house after you just spent the time building it. So this looks like a really nice spot. It's hidden by a lot of rocks, trees, stuff like that. So yeah, obviously just slap your walls, your foundation, throw a door frame on there, and then a door. Okay, now that you got this on here, I'll fix that in a second. You're gonna want to look at your door, and you're gonna see the green letters down there, like the green words and stuff, and you gotta check if it says locked or not. So a lot of people don't know this, but they think that you always have to put a pin code on something to make sure it's locked. But for doors, when you place them down, they'll be instantly locked if you don't place a pin code, which is actually more safe than putting a pin code on them, because it will always allow you to open it, but not others. So that's kind of a tip that not a lot of people tell you. That was kind of embarrassing. Oh, that's new. Before you were not able to pick up anything in the game. So, I guess if you misplay something, it's not as bad as it used to be. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah. So now we have our little shack, and we want to get to level 26, maybe, I think it is. Let me go and check. 20. Level 20. This is the level we want to get to as fast as possible. Once we get here, then we can start working on the metal. But for this gameplay, I think this is enough. I just taught you the quick basics. Showed you how to build your house. Just the basics of PvP. You saw kind of everything right off the bat. You saw another player. Yeah, it's always good just to be nice to people in the beginning, because you want to at least get started before you start raiding people. Yeah, so if you ever encounter anybody, just hit L1 and the touchpad at the same time, and it'll pull up the chat menu, and you can say whatever you want, I guess. But anyways, that should do it. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. I'll have a new video up in a few days. Talk to you guys later. CK out.